We got a huge one tonight. I'm super excited. It's game number 82 and we still got plenty on the line here today. So we bring aboard here our guy, all-time Panther great, former captain Ed Jovanovski, Bally Sports Florida, joining us here. Jovo, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I had this team, dead team walking 2.5 weeks ago. I did. Now maybe I did a reverse jinx. I'm not going to take credit for it. All right. I was very down. I thought it was over with, that 4-game losing skid. We can be honest now because they're in. Did you think they were done a couple weeks ago, Ed?
It didn't look good. I'd be lying too if I said it, and it didn't look like trouble. But it's amazing kind of what things happen. And you almost wish during the season they just had a run like they had, of late, to not put themselves in this position. But Monday morning quarterback, it is what it is. They found a way to win hockey games, to get back into it, and they got some help around the league, which is obviously nice.
It's really cool, actually. I've been saying this recently where for a season, which for the most part has been super frustrating if you're a fan, I'm sure for the players too, but for a fan, it's been super frustrating. Yet for the last few weeks, because every game has had this playoff type feel to it because of the position that they put themselves in, it's been a wild finish to this season. And now going into tonight's game, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped as well. A lot riding on this game here tonight for the Panthers and for the Hurricanes as well. But you see it around even the Leaf game. It was a national coverage game, but I went to the game. The arena's bumping. I mean, people have noticed obviously where the team is and how important these games are. And what I love about this is they played so well leading up to this. They're heading into the playoffs with some momentum and feeling good about their game. And like you said, yeah, the last couple months you've been in playoff mode. It's not always nice playing that way because mentally it drains you. Physically, obviously guys are banged up. But for the most part, finding a way to win these tight games. And I know the coaching staff has really been preaching this defensive style game that, ultimately wins in the playoffs. So it's nice to see them kind of firing in all those aspects of the game. So we'll see. We got to take care tonight, though.
I like that you mentioned how the building has been on fire, and it has. And that comes with, okay, so the team has clinched their 4th consecutive season in the playoffs, which I'm pretty sure is the first time ever in franchise history that they've made the playoffs 4 consecutive years. And this is what happens when you have a consistently good team, a team that you feel is going to be in the playoffs every single year. You get that fan base that knows what they're getting into. And I mean, look, obviously in 96 was the all-time great year for the franchise, but this is really the first time that they're having this sustained success year after year after year after year. And that's how you grow a fan base and pack that building every single night.
Right, and you got committed ownership. And I think that's what the Violas have done, Doug Sifu. I think these guys understand that, you got to open up the wallets. You got to bring in some free agents. You got to find a way to lock up your core guys and keep them in the fold. Because nowadays with the salary cap, sometimes, unfortunately, you just can't keep players just where their market is as a player. The team's not willing to do it. They're going to chase it elsewhere. But you look at the core of guys that they have. They've been around here for a while. You make that one trade, obviously, with Huberdeau and bring in Tkachuk. We know what he's done. This year it's been remarkable. But yeah, it's nice to see. The team has obviously grown the last handful of years, and the trajectory has been nice. The one thing we want here is playoff success. And maybe it's a little different route, Zaz, heading into this year than last year winning the President's Trophy. I think this year battle-tested, little adversity, obviously, for the last 4 or 5 months of the year. This team has really been grinding. So you're entering the playoffs kind of in a different mindset as far as where you're positioned. But overall, I like where the team is right now. I like what's going on at the arena. The fans are recognizing it. They're excited. And what's better than playoff hockey? There's not much out there that's better than playoff hockey. So we're certainly excited. I'm sure the franchises as well.
Do we have any idea yet, as we're recording this, who is in goal tonight for the Panthers?
I'm gonna say probably Alex Lyon is gonna play in that. I think I was kind of going over this in my head last night. If the Islanders lost yesterday, this game is meaningless.
Then you go Bobrovsky for sure.
You go Bobrovsky and you give him that one game heading into the playoffs. But listen, you know what? Bobrovsky's an elite goaltender. He's done a lot of great things this year. But you see lately, you know, what are the reasons why this team is where they are right now? I mean, better team play, defensive play, but goaltending. A little bit hairy when he first came in the net. You can see him. You can see him. He's settled down. He's more comfortable. He controls the net area. And I think for the coaching staff, I'm not a coach, so I really don't know. But I've been in the game, around the game a long time. I gotta believe that they run with Lyon. You know, here tonight, he's confident. I think the group in front of him know what they're going to get with him. And then come the playoffs, it could be a revolving thing. You know, I think, you know, you give – I don't know. I think
it's tough.
You know, you look at Lyon, what he's done, why would you stay with him? But like I said, I'm not the coach, and Paul Maurice has been around a long time. He's a great coach. He's got a better understanding than I do. Robbie Tallis, the goaltending coach, and I'm sure a decision will be made. But I got to believe tonight that you'll see Lyon in that.
So a couple things happened, which I don't know if it sparked the run. I don't know how much credit you give to these guys, but it coincided with the team winning 6 in a row and now in the position they're in. So apparently the morning of the Panthers at Toronto, they had lost 4 in a row. Matthew Tkachuk's father, the great Keith Tkachuk, was on radio there in Toronto, called the Panthers a soft team. The Panthers were down, 2-1 at the time, I think it was. And Paul Maurice, or actually it was 1-1, and they were challenging the goal, and they ended up winning the challenge. Paul Maurice is lighting the team up like I've never seen before. And you get what ends up being the biggest goal of the year as Reinhart gets the deflection. Then they win it in overtime with Brandon Montour, and away we go. Does that stuff like how much credit do you put into that kind of stuff where, all right, you got the father of our best player, everybody in the dressing room hears what Keith Tkachuk said, and then you got Paul Maurice, giving the team the business. How much does that stuff play in?
Well, I got to believe that it hit home, first of all. And I think if it comes from anyone else, it might be a little bit of tension in the locker room. Coming from Keith, who's played a long NHL career, who scored goals, who fought, who played tough. I know I played against him. He used to shove his big Louisville stick right in my ribs. He didn't care who it was. He was a tough player to play against. So coming from him, I think it probably hit home to the guys. Say, listen, we do, not individually, team tough. We need to be, stronger as a team, protect each other, and just play harder in areas around the puck and win those battles. And then when the coach going nuclear, they deserved it. At that moment, there was numerous turnovers. Pucks were going in the middle of the ice. No look passes. This isn't a playoff kind of craze where you're fighting for each and every point. So anytime you give an opportunity for a team like Toronto to just continually come down on odd man rushes and put your defenseman and goalie in very tough positions, it was time to kind of light the team up. And you look what's happened since then with Walt going calling the team soft and the coach going nuclear. The team has responded and they rallied around it. And, they're in a position where they've clinched a playoff spot now.
What's the worst you've ever been lit up by a coach like that?
Well, it was bad. I mean, I think the game has really changed now, Zaz. I think coaches are somewhat careful on what comes out of their mouth. I was so bad one night in Vancouver on defense, the coach put me on forward. And I went out the first shift. I think I was with Donald Brashear and Brad May on a line. So we had a pretty physical line. And I think I got assist that first shift on the ice. Then we're killing a penalty. So he's like, hey, Jovo, go back on D. I chased the guy the wrong way behind the net, and they end up scoring on that power play. And he basically told me that, you're so bad that just sit here the rest of the game and think about your game. But listen, I love that kind of stuff, man. I loved it. It fired me up a little bit more. But, sometimes coaches got to do it. And I understand this whole, nowadays you got to be careful. I think you can do it in ways where guys respect it from a coach. Coaches nowadays, they don't need to be your, best friend. They're out there in the best interest for you as a hockey player to improve daily. And if you're not doing that, consistently, then you're going to deserve some, some shit basically from the coach. And it's okay. I think teams rally around it. I think some coaches pick certain players where they know they can get the message across. And but this message coming from the coach was for all 20 guys on that bench.
I got to tell you, Jovo, I think Matthew Tkachuk is as likable a player this team has ever had. Like, I can't remember the team having a player like this who behaves the way he does. And what I mean is, you see him on the bench at the end of the games, and he's jumping up and down when the team gets the clinching empty net goal. And the goal that he scores the other day, the last game to take the lead in Washington, and just how fired up he was. Like, I can't remember a player with his personality who also has his skill set, who could back up all the talking. I don't remember a player like that ever playing for this team.
Right. And you can't teach passion, right? And I think when you look on him, the excitement, he's coming to this situation, it was a big trade, coming to a new situation. You never know how these are going to play out. You can see in Calgary, it hasn't been a great year for Huberdeau, or Uyghur. They obviously were eliminated the other day. So coming to a new situation for him, for what he's done, obviously the 100 points and now the team in the playoffs, I'm really interested to see him firsthand how he responds in the playoffs, because a lot of the, he drags guys into the fight. And he's one of those guys that does it within the rules, kind of knows when to pick his spots. And it could be growing up in a hockey family, watching his dad do it. He was a great playoff type player too. But it's been special to see. And you can see every conversation that this kid has, how excited and pumped he is, be in this market, to be in Florida. I just wish in the Sun Sentinel we got a little bit more coverage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Matthew Tkachuk has done a lot of good things. I saw the other day, it was a big game, and I couldn't find any article, in the paper, which for whatever reason, I'm not sure what the reason, it may be a late game or whatever, but he's been a special player for this team, and we're going to have him for years to come.
I know you mentioned to me when we were talking yesterday, you think we're going to get granted, there's still a lot on the line tonight. They need a win here tonight. The formula is really simple. Win, and you get the top wild card spot, and you would likely – and New Jersey has to do their job, and then you would get New Jersey in the first round, lose tonight, or only come away with a point in overtime, and you get Boston. So there's still a lot on the line tonight. But you believe we're going to get a pretty loose club tonight?
I think so. I think a little bit of the weight off their shoulders. Like I said yesterday, I think you're going to see a freer team. Keep in mind, you still got to play that, solid defensive style game. Carolina's playing for a lot too. Yep. So, you're going to have a team that's ready. I think you want to play, a great game, knowing where you can finish in the standings. And I don't care what people say. Yeah, we split the games with Boston this year. I don't care. Me as a fan, a team a guy that covers the team, Boston's a different animal. They're so deep. They're tough to play against. I much rather, face the Carolina or Jersey, in that first round. But you got to take care of business tonight. And you'll feel good about winning the game, and then you'll feel good about going into the playoffs. But I think clinching the playoffs, definitely, you're not under the gun. God forbid, something happens, you don't win the game. At least you're still going to the dance. But you still want to win this hockey game for many reasons.
How aware are guys, the last game against Toronto, which was a great game. I thought the team played really great. Tough finish, but it was funny because I'm watching at home on ESPN Plus, and Leah Hextall, who was the reporter in between the benches, she had a great anecdote where She said Mark Stahl caught her looking at her phone early in the third period, and she had the Capitals Islanders game on, and Mark asked to take a look at the phone and sees that the Islanders are down 4-1, and he nudges whoever's next to him and says, "Hey, check it out." So during games like that, is most of the team thinking in their head, "Hey, I wonder what's going on, in the standings"?
Well, I think he answered that question for you. I think, everyone's curious to see what's going on. I actually texted Luongo during that game. I'm like, hey, Isles are up 3-0.
Yeah.
It's like, the drill, Jovo. There's still a lot of hockey left. But listen, I think the game was great. It ended up being a really huge point. I think the Panthers played a really good game that day. Could have won it in overtime. Matthew Tkachuk, both him and Tavares had a couple minute shift in that. I'm surprised Tavares got down the ice. As you can see, Matthew waving on to Alex Lyon to come out and get that puck. But it ended up being a huge point. But, yeah, guys are curious, especially when it comes down to this crunch time. You got both teams playing, and you know what the scenario could be. I mean, guys, usually those scores are posted up in the arena, so guys are getting a glimpse of that. But such importance like that, you can see Mark Stahl, veteran player of 1,100 games, still kind of curious on what's going on around the league.
Can you explain for people who aren't as well versed, in hockey? Can you explain what it feels like when you're at that 2-minute mark, 2.5 minute, like you said, Tavares was at the end when he scored that game-winning goal? Can you describe what your legs feel like when you're on the ice for that long?
Yeah, when you're in the offensive zone and you're on for 2 minutes skating around, 3-on-3 can get a little bit annoying at times. There's nothing. They take it out of the, Gretzky's got a different analogy on that with the shot clock now he wants to put in. But, teams don't have nothing. They come out of the zone. When you have puck possession, your legs feel great. But when you're on the ice and the puck turns over, now the lactic acid is built up and you're pretty much straight legging it down there. So I guess you can equate it to, just kind of doing sprints, right? If you do sprints, basically, if you're doing, a longer sprint, 100, 200 meter sprint, and you have a 10, 20 second rest and do it again. And basically, that's where the burn comes in. But the guys are so in shape. I don't care. But when you're on the ice for 2.5 minutes, your legs burn. But it could have ended before that, right, Zaz? It could have ended that opportunity. And sometimes, and you look at Matthew Tkachuk out there, if you notice, he stays out there for the full 2 minutes on a power play. He's the one guy that they leave out there. A lot of the time when the team does have possession, he's kind of stationed in front of the net in his office area, kind of creating havoc in front of the goaltender, trying to screen him and tip pucks.
Lastly here, Ed, were you in the building for the game against Ottawa last week? They won 7-2. Were you watching at home, or I guess?
No, I was back from my dad's 1-year memorial in Canada, so I was watching it, back home. But I saw the craziness.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I was watching from home. That it was the best crowd of the year. I thought it was the best game of the year. I mean, a 7-2 game. They kicked the shit out of them. That game was incredible, especially when they killed off the full 5-on-3 and Nick Cousins comes out of the box and then scores on the other end to make it like 5-1. And that building was going crazy. I think we're going to have a phenomenal atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I'm sure the building's going to be rocking. Look historically, Carolina, we always seem to have a little bit of trouble with them. We've had, I think we split with them this year as well. But yeah, it's that playoff hockey. You look what Ottawa did to us on that first game of that last trip. 5-on-5, we played good. Our special teams, were garbage. Bob didn't have a good game, and that's kind of the last game we've really seen Bob, right? He wasn't feeling good the rest of that trip. But you start kind of getting into that playoff mode, where, the intensity, the physicality picks up, and it's always the best time of the year. Having said that, you still have to be disciplined. I think refs early on in playoff series, they want to be the heroes, right? We're calling everything, this, we're calling that. So you still have to play, disciplined hockey. You can play hard, but play smart. And I think you'll give a team a better chance on winning if your special teams game is outperforming theirs.
Yeah, we're looking forward. I'm taking my son tonight, right after the loss on Monday. It's like, fuck it. And I go right on to Ticketmaster. I purchased 2 seats, center ice. We're going to be there Thursday. I'm ready to go. Let's get crazy tonight. We're both super excited. You're on the broadcast tonight, of course, so folks will be able to watch you from home, yes?
Yes, yeah, we're on tonight. Big game, a lot to cover. But overall, it's nice playing this last game when it's so meaningful. Mm-hmm. And even for players, I know as a former player, when something's on the line, the pressure is there. You want to be part of it. But now on the other side of it, I can't wait to be a part of this game tonight on the broadcast side. A lot of good things to cover. So we're looking forward to it.
And you guys will be able to give you'll probably know what's going on with New Jersey. I'm not sure what time they're playing tonight. It's probably around the same time as us. You'll be able to give a little breakdown. Yeah, same time as us. You'll be able to give a little breakdown of who the first round opponent is post game.
Absolutely. But the kind of the whole discussion of late was, even by us and even by the players, you can control your own fate by what you do as a team and individually, what more you can bring to this game tonight. And I think that's just obviously the situation here tonight for the Florida Panthers. You want to play in that first wild card spot. It's right in front of you. Come out there, have a game of your life, feel good about it heading into the playoffs.
It's right there. Great job, Jovo. Always love having you on. Thank you, man. Have fun tonight. It's going to be great.
All right, Zaz. Good job.